In the last episode, I tried to understand what this painting actually is, how old it might be, how it was made, and how compromised its condition really is. Today is the point where assessment turns into action, and everything I do from the beginning to shape the future of this painting, and that means the decisions have to be deliberate, careful, and justified. Before any surface work or cleaning can even be considered, the structure of the painting has to be stabilised. So what I'm going to do is apply a facing paper now to the painting, because I'm just not. I think the paint surface is rock solid, but just in case you don't know how these paintings react to moisture, and the glue has water in it. So just to be on the safe side, I'm going to face him off, and then once that dry, I will get him prepared and ready to go onto the loom. I've got a bit of Melanex non-stick as an interleave so it doesn't stick to this cardboard, and then I'm going to apply this facing tissue across the picture. Apply some rabbit skin glue, and then that will protect the paint surface for the next stage. So I've literally been just stood here for about 15 minutes planning this all out, because the procedure's a little bit out of sync or out of order how I would normally do this. I just had to think of a different technique. So this paper is going to face the picture, and it's going to stick to this cardboard here, and that'll stay flat so that the painting won't wrinkle and cockle as the facing paper dries. And that's the plan anyway. I've got some rabbit skin glue in the pan, so once that's ready we will start to glue this facing paper on. So to attach this paper, I'm just using a very weak solution of animal glue. I want the glue to saturate the paper, and then I'll be able to flatten it down, remove those air bubbles, and this will just protect that paint surface while we do the stabilisation procedure. As I said, it's a little bit out of sync this time, but I did feel like it was necessary to do this before we do the next stage. Right, I'm going to leave that facing paper to dry now. It's quite warm in the studio today. I've got my heater on, so it might take an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer. I'll just show you what I've done with the loom as well for this painting. Okay, so this is the loom that I've prepared. It's a wooden frame, and I've stretched over Belgian linen. Let's just slide that up. So yeah, it's tacked all around the edge, this raw linen, and then it's been sealed or sized with rabbit skin glue, which has made it nice and taut and very flat. So what will happen once the portrait's dried, we'll trace around and we'll apply the portrait to this loom here, and then we'll iron it down flat. So that's going to be the next stage as soon as that facing paper is clear. Okay. Right, so for my glue mixture I'm using wheat starch paste. So this is gin shofu, which is purified. So I'm going to do a 1:5 ratio. So, and there. So I want 100 thereabouts of my paste. I'll put that in my double boiler. I'm just going to slowly add some distilled water to that. Just get that into a bit of a paste. I'll show you what that's looking like in there. So I'm just going to get that into a really nice milky paste. Make sure there's no lumps in it. And then I'll turn the heat up on this and warm it through. I don't want to cook it though, I don't want to boil it, I just want to gently warm it. So, just add the rest of that water in there. Okay. So put that on high to begin with. And I'm just going to warm that through. So it's kind of like milk at the moment, and then it's going to thicken up. And while that's doing that, I'm going to make some rabbit skin glue as well. So I only need a bit of this rabbit skin glue. This is 1 to 10, so I'm just going to do just a small batch. That's my rabbit skin glue going in. I need 150 ml of water for that too. So yeah, I don't need a lot of this. I might just do a little bit more actually, just because I can dilute it down with this. And then this can help me decide if I want a really thick glue or a thinner glue. And I come to mix those two together. So just show you that. So that's the rabbit skin glue and the distilled water. And I'm just going to put that on a very low heat over here. Just on 1. I'm just going to warm that through again. So again, don't want that to cook or burn, I just want to warm it through gently. This will probably be done before the wheat starch paste, but I'm just going to gently warm that, and then we'll come back in a little bit and see how things are progressing. Okay, so my rabbit skin glue looks good. It's all diluted and melted. Nice consistency. My wheat starch has taken a while to get this thick, so in this boiler it's double boiled, it's a little bit slow, but you can see how it's like a kind of double cream kind of consistency now. And we'll leave that a little bit longer to thicken up, and then we'll mix the two together. But let's have a look. Not dead sticky yet, but it's getting there. So I'm going to leave that another 5 minutes or so, and then we'll come back to it and see if it's ready to go. But yeah, a lot better. Right, while I'm waiting for that glue just to get to the right consistency, I'm going to release the painting from the board that I was using for the facing paper. So the facing paper is dried now, and I can bring this over. I'm just going to release it, so you can see here completely dried. So I'm just going to cut along here now, release the painting, and then I can get it ready to be put onto a loom. So what I'm going to do is just use a scalpel and cut around the edge there. You'll see that come away, and I can just take the painting off there. So just using that outer edge as a guide. See, that's just going to lift off nicely. We'll just come along this edge too. So my glue, I've just had another look, and it's nice and thick now, so that's ready for me to sieve and combine. Just going to finish this off. I'm glad that I faced the painting. I did think it'd be fine without it, but this just gives an extra level of security because paintings all react differently to moisture, and the glue that I am applying is obviously water based, so I didn't want to put it under any undue stress. Okay, so that's my painting off. Get rid of this. So, and then that's my release paper underneath. So I'm going to get this ready to go onto the loom. But before I do that, let's have a look at the glue. So you can see much thicker now. So I'm going to let that cool slightly, and I'm going to sieve it, and then I'm going to apply my rabbit skin glue to my wheat starch. And this should be a lovely consistency. Okay. Okay. It's not too hot. I'm just going to sieve this to here. Make sure there's no lumps. You could use muslin for this, or you could use a slightly different food grade sieve, but this is super fine. We'll remove any lumps or bumps completely. Everything takes longer than you think, so it's about 3:30 now. I started looking at this painting this morning at about, I don't know, 9:30. That facing paper on the painting kind of slowed me down. That took best part of 2.5 hours to dry, rather than the hour that I'd given it. Getting this glue formulated, in my mind I think, oh, half an hour, but I'm already an hour into this as well, getting everything the right temperature. So hopefully if I can get this glue together, the last process that I do today before it goes completely dark will be to attach this to the painting. But then there is other processes involved as well, so I'm kind of thinking, am I better now leaving this glue overnight in the fridge and coming back tomorrow and doing the gluing process tomorrow, which will push me on another day. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, so that's all sieved. I've got my rabbit skin glue here. What I'm going to do is transfer this into this jug. See how much I've got. I think I've got about 300ml there. Let's turn this back up. Well, we've got 300 there, and roughly, I can see on there, just less than 500 by the time I scrape everything out. So I'm going to transfer all of that into there now. So that's my 500 of the wheat starch paste. And then I'm just going to add 50 to begin with. 300, just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to give that a good mix in there too. I'm just going to warm this up slightly as well. I'm not going to cook it. I don't want it too thick. So let me just show you what that's looking like. So I've got my rabbit skin glue in there now. I'm just going to warm it a little bit further and get that a good mixture in there. I don't want it too thick. I want it to flow a little bit, but I don't want it too stiff either. So I'm just going to bring that up to about 50 degrees now. So it's always on number 1 roughly, nothing too major. So I just want to warm that through. So let's just bring the loom over. Just move this safely out of the way. And come on, the camera over. So that's that. And painting on the loom. And then I'm just going to draw around the painting. know exactly where I'm applying my glue. Okay. Take that off. And then I'm ready to apply the glue. Just see what that's up to. That's looking good. Nice and warm. So that's my glue mixture at the moment. It's quite warm. Nice and gloopy. Not sure if that's where the word comes from. Right, almost ready. I'd just like to say welcome to all my new patrons that joined since the last video. Welcome along. I hope you're enjoying the library of work that's on Patreon. I'm almost at my 200 member total that I'm going for before I give away one of my exclusive Bloomfield Art aprons. So if you've not been over there, go and have a look. There's loads of exclusive videos, contents, competitions and giveaways. And if you're on YouTube and you haven't already, please hit like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel up to 50,000 this year, and it would be awesome if you'd subscribe and like what you're seeing. Everybody's support and comments, I do read them all. Thank you so much, and I'm glad to have you along on this deep dive journey. Not missed any spots. Looks pretty good to me. Okay. I'll tidy this up and we'll get the painting on. So this is what we've got at the moment. Got a nice covering all over. I've got some little peaks in there as well, so I can see that I've got some areas that are a little bit thicker, which is okay, but I'd like everything to be a similar depth. Okay, it's starting to go off a little bit now. So I'm going to give this 5 minutes, let it go a little bit tacky, and then we'll present the painting onto this loom as well, and then we'll iron it with a little bit of heat. Putting this sheet of acrylic on the bench because it's completely flat and smooth. And when I'm ironing the painting, I don't want anything to protrude through from behind, so just making sure that's all clear, there's no lumps or bumps. Just put a little bit of non-stick down as well, just to prevent anything sticking, and then loom back on. Make sure I don't move that. Okay, so this is almost ready to take the paint in. Some of those peaks are drying, I'd say a little bit tacky, which is what I want, and then the glue can reactivate it. So a couple more minutes yet. The other thing I want to do is I'm just going to mist the canvas with a little bit of water, because I don't want the canvas to go under any shock when it touches the glue, which can happen. So I'm just going to give this a little mist. That's it. And then we'll get this ready to take the paint in. Okay, let's apply the painting now. Looks like it's got a nice tack now around the edges. I'm looking for a really good nap bond, and you can see straight away there that It's taking that canvas nicely, which is encouraging. So just allow that a good nice bit of pressure there. And then we'll do the first ironing. So I'm just going to use this piece of linen to protect it and stop my iron getting covered in glue if there's any. This is at about 50 degrees and it's really heavy, so I'm just going to let this do the work now. Just going to let the weight of the iron just activate that glue and let the weight of the iron get a really nice bond between the new piece of linen and the original canvas. Already feels better. So just move that over now. The other half. Again, just let the iron do the work. Just have a feel of that side. Feels like a good bond, which is nice. The glue was quite thick, which was good. It wasn't runny, there wasn't an excessive amount of moisture in there. The facing paper will protect the front of the picture as well during this. And once I've given it its first ironing, we'll remove this facing paper and put the paper on that will push the painting down overnight. So yeah, not too hot, just enough to give that glue a little bit of activation and help. And we'll come back over. But I can see there already it's looking good, it's got a good bond, which is nice. Again, just let the iron do the work. So with the first ironing done, I just need to take this facing paper off now, have a look at the picture, we'll give it a second iron, and then we'll put the final facing paper on overnight. So I'm just going to apply some light moisture here on this paper, it'll just soften down, we'll be able to remove it and have a look at our work. There we go. Okay. It's looking good. Okay, brilliant. So, as I said, this is just a temporary lining, facing paper rather, just to protect it during this process. So I'll just remove the rest of this now. Good. He's relaxed quite a bit actually, which is nice to see. Okay. Right. I'll finish this off and then get ready to show you the next section. And the same process, I'm just going to use this to protect the iron and a little bit of a cushion. And I'm just going to use that weight of the iron just to give it a second iron. Okay. That should be fine now. For my second iron, I'll have a look for the next few minutes before we put the final facing paper on that will stay on overnight. So this is the back of the loom now. You can see it's a little bit damp down there too. So we're going to let that stand for an hour or so, and then we're going to come back and we will put the final facing paper on that will stay on overnight. Okay, so final stage now is to add this sulfite paper, which is a Japanese mulberry paper. It's got a shiny side and a matte side. The matte side's going up. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of my animal glue mixture just to brace this. I'm just going to pull everything together, keep everything in place overnight. So let's go with this. Again, make sure I've got a good coverage on this paper. As I said, it's not got great wet strength, so I need to work fast. Hopefully have this done in 5 minutes or so. I don't want the painting to be too wet, so I want to keep spreading that water. Well, glue rather, not water. Okay, move that out of the way. That's quite good coverage. Those air bubbles. Alright, and then we'll go back down. Not bad. Kind of gave up there. Let's go down a bit more. Moisture will just allow everything to relax and flatten out. Okay, so this is how we'll leave him this evening with this facing paper on, which is going to flatten out him even further and hopefully get rid of the worst of the cupping. I think these stretcher bar marks are so prominent they might well stay, but for the most part I'm hoping for a nice flat result, and that's where we'll leave it for this evening. Let me flip you around. So as you can see, long day today, lots of prep work. Even though we had the loom prepared, we had to make the glue, we did a double facing, which we might have got away with, but I think it was best to do it and have that in place. So we'll leave this overnight now. It'll all dry out, and then we'll come back in the morning and we will remove that facing paper, see how the lining has taken, and we will get ready for the next step, which will be stretching it onto these stretcher bars, which have arrived and are over there. So let's come back tomorrow morning. Yeah, it's time to go home for now. Right, I'll see you in the morning. Okay guys, it's the next morning and this is the view when I came in. So I've not turned the lights on yet, but it looks to have taken really well. So that sulfite paper has flattened it all down. I can still see some stretcher bar marks, but they were so deep that I'm not surprised really. But the rest of it looks so flat. You can still see some of this ridged crackle coming through. But I think this has been a really successful lining so far. So I'm going to get the lights on and we will start to remove that facing paper. I think I'll put the kettle on too and have a cup of tea, but this is looking good. So let's get the lights on and let's get started. So I'm just applying this water to swell that paper and then I can remove it. So let's just see how this is looking now. There we go. I don't want to put too much water on. There's a little bit more. It's quite stuck. Okay, that's better. The crackle there feels a little bit flatter, so hopefully we've reduced that. Okay, that's the majority of this off now. So I'm just going to tidy this up completely. The sponge will remove any glue residue and paper fibres that's still on there. Then we'll get ready to clean this, cut this from the loom. Okay, so I'm really pleased with how that's turned out now. It's taken to that new linen so well. Yes, you can still see the stretcher bar marks in places, but it's so much better than it was. So with that facing paper removed now, I'm just going to let it dry again for another hour or so. And then once it's nice and dry, we will cut it off and we will attach it to its new stretcher, which is over there, which needs building. So that's my next job. The customer has asked for it to be aged slightly, so we've applied a stain to the stretcher just to age it down a little bit. I'm just going to slot this together roughly. Was the easiest part of the whole job. So let's just make sure that's square. 102, 95. So it needs to go this way a little bit. 100. Okay. Right, so stretcher is ready to take the painting when that's dry. So we'll leave that there and then we'll start to get the painting cut off the loom. Right, I ended up leaving him overnight again once I took the facing paper off, and now he's completely dry and really taut. Let me just show you how he looks at the moment. So you can see he's all nice and taut on here, nice and flat. And I'm really, really pleased with how he's been lined, and you can see it's a really good bond on there as well, so I'm pleased with my glue mixture. So the next thing to do is to cut it from the cut it from the loom and get it ready to be stretched. Okay, and there he is off the loom. Looking really good. So let's get him on the stretcher. So the first thing I need to do is get these edges, the straight edges that I've still got present on the edge of the stretcher bar. So bring that side round because that's the most complete side. Bring my stretcher over the edge of the bench and just will gently fold on that line, ever so gently, just to start getting that in place. Now my other side is a little bit short because of the way the canvas has shrunk, so I'm going to include this little extra 5mm as well, all the way down on this side, and that should give me a little bit more of the original canvas surface when I come to the other side. But I need to be aware that I keep this straight as well, all the way down. So once I've done this side, I want to flip it and see how the other side is beginning to. So then, same on this side, match my fold on that side, pull tightly and see where my fold is. And it's just, you can't see that, 1 second. So it's just catching on that tacking edge. And that's the difference that I'm short there. But remember, this has to fit the existing frame as well, so I don't have too much leeway. This can be filled, and it may not even be shown depending on how thick the rebate is. Okay, so when I'm happy that I've got my folds roughly in and it looks true and square, I'll start thinking about getting some tacks in and getting them under tension. So once I'm happy that my canvas is sitting on the stretcher completely square, I'll put a holding tack in either at the bottom or the top edge, and then I'll turn the painting round and start to pull it under tension. So I'll use my canvas pliers to do this. I'll get a tack ready to go and I'll give that a nice pull, and you'll see the tension jump in there a little bit. Once I've got it under tension, I'll clamp that in place and put that first tack in, or second tack rather. I'll then work in opposite, so I'll put these side tacks in directly opposite each other, keeping that tension in place. So I'll just work my way around the canvas then. So I'll probably start with, say, top left, and then I'll go bottom right, and I'll go top right and bottom left. So I'm working in opposites all the way around to get even tension and spread that across the whole canvas. It's always somewhat of a relief to get it to this stage, because there's been so many processes to re-strengthen and stabilise it, and then once it's back on that stretcher and it's tacked on, it becomes more of a movable object. It's just a lot safer to move the painting around. So I've just put the keys in just to get them in place and put it under a little bit of tension, not too much. I'm going to just trim this excess. I don't need this excess here on the corners, and I'm going to glue the edges down, so I'm just going to trim up the stretcher edge and go in at a 45-degree angle and take off that excess, and I'll do that to all of the corners. Now it's going to be ready to glue these edges down, but I'm just going to tidy them up first and trim them to match. There we go. I want a nice 45-degree angle, so the easiest way to do this is just trace it along the edge there. This blade is brand new, so it's super sharp. Okay, I'll do the same with that one as well. So they'll come together nicely. And I'll measure off that area too as well. Right, I've trimmed all the edges down now. This is a slightly stronger animal glue that I'm going to use. I'm just going to apply this mainly to the stretcher, and I'm just going to glue these edges down. So by gluing them down, it just gives a stronger bond onto the stretcher. So over time, if those tacks fail or get damp and it begins to rot away around those tack edges, we've got this glued edge here, which will provide extra support as well. And again, this is how a lot of traditional linings would have been done. So I'm just going to apply a thin coat of this, and let it go tacky, and then I'll push it down. I'm just going to gently fold that in. It's going to hold nicely. And the same with this bottom edge too. Make a nice neat corner. Just to put a bit of pressure on and hold that in place. Well, the glue does relax that linen again, so there is a bit of stretch in it, so I kind of push it up and get a nice firm bond. So with all four sides tacked down now, it's time to have a look on the easel, and I'm really pleased with how it's come together. It's got a nice tension to it. It's attached firmly to that stretcher, and it just looks 100% better. Nice tidy edges on the back. I'm going to secure those keys in later on, but it is looking really good. So This is where we leave him at the end of this episode. He's been fully relined, attached to the new stretcher, nice and secure, and he's looking a lot better than he did when he arrived. Those stretcher bar marks are still there. There's still the odd lump and bump in there that might need to be addressed, maybe with the heated spatula. But he is looking fabulous. I'm really pleased with how he's turned out. Right guys, that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you to everybody who's made it this far in the video. I know it was a bit of an epic, but these processes take a long time, and I'm just trying to show you a little bit of a slower approach. And as I said, this is a multi-part episode. Next week, we have the cleaning of this painting, and you've seen the tests already. It's going to be fabulous. I'm sure there is so much nicotine and smoke damage on this 300-year-old portrait that the results will be quite dramatic. So please join me next week for the cleaning. Thanks to all my patrons for your support. Thanks to all you YouTubers for your support and comments. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow up to 50,000. It'd be great to get there this year. Weather in Manchester, which way am I turning? Kind of warm grey day today. Warm grey, no rain, which is good. But yeah, we'll leave that here for now. Have a lovely weekend. Hope you do something exciting or fun. And yeah, I will see you all next week. Thanks for joining me. See you soon, guys. Bye.